side by side.
There's contact between the two of them, half off the road. Adam Crane trying to look to the inside of the Yas Heat driver.
Now, oh, big snap of oversteer. There's going to be contact nearly four. Around the outside, oh, there's big contact. Oh, that is huge. With a new season enlarged, the iRacing IndyCar series opens up for our new round one at the virtual circuit of Road America. Welcome everybody to another Race Spot broadcast. I am Lorenzo Bonder filling in for Arjuna Kankipati today, and with me in the producer booth will be Tyler Maxson, which also produces part of our cameras here today with Isvan Vallo from Track Cams 22. And also, we got our new commentator that is going to be part of this season with Arjuna whenever he comes back, and we wish him well because he has some health issues. And there has been some discussion about who's going to be our commentator for this season. Well, look no further. Is Arjuna's Kankipati's teammate at Powerslide Motorsport, featured many times in the Indy 500 events, Wilson Nato. And Wilson, I can't wait to see you here on the broadcast. But I commentated with you in Portuguese broadcast many times. And what Road America brings us this season, because it's an amazing track to drive.
Yeah, it is definitely for sure, Lorenzo, and thanks for the kind words. So first of all, thank you very much for you and all the RaceSpot crew for having me here. Really looking forward to do the entire season with you guys here. As you know, IndyCar is I'm a huge fan of IndyCar series. Not only commentating and watching races, but also being on the track with all those guys, many of those guys that you'll be seeing in action today. And yeah, I think a very good expectation because the brand new season coming, and everybody with their expectations renewed and their feelings about the track. Not to mention that at least from the tests I've been doing in the couple past days, the feeling of the car is quite better right now because I remember like two builds ago when the new tire model came out, especially in this track here, it was quite tricky after 6 or 7 laps, and but it seems that iRacing is improving the tire model and everything. So I think the car is very more enjoyable to drive, and yeah, hopefully that translates in a good race and good fighter position for the win.
Yeah, it's a good track. And talking about schedule and expectations here, we have the schedule at Wilson. We started Road America, which actually mirrors the real life event because we're coming to Road America also this weekend in the IndyCar, in the Verizon IndyCar series. Then we head to Michigan, Mid-Ohio, Iowa, Hockenheimring, basically the German replacement of the Nordschleife we had last season. Then Charlotte to round out the first half of the season. Then we go to the amazing Phillip Island track in Australia, Richmond, Indianapolis GP, Worldwide Technology Raceway in Illinois. Then we round out with Watkins Glen and then Pocono. I gotta say, I'm pretty much stoked for this season because it is a very good blend of tracks, old road and oval. But I am more interested to see this initial second half of the season with Phillip Island, Richmond, and then we go to Indianapolis and Worldwide because it is such tricky tracks in Phillip Island. I think it is one of my favorite tracks this season because it has such a good flow and it fits so well IndyCar here to Wilson. What do you think about the schedule?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent mix, you know, between road tracks and short tracks and speedways. I think it will bring pretty much the challenge to what we'd like to see in the series. Those kind of drivers trying to mix the skills. And I myself is not a good driver on the short ovals, to be honest. So it's not easy in short ovals. Yeah, honestly, I don't have that skill. But yeah, it's very good to see all those drivers combining their abilities in those kind of different tracks. So yeah, pretty good season, and really looking forward to see those guys putting the show in all those kind of different tracks.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season, nevertheless, and the blend of short ovals and long ovals is going to be really interesting to see. There's still about less than a minute in qualifying sessions. In the lead is going to be probably Phillip Kraus, the team talent driver, is going to be P1. Is Sai Andra making his return to the road side, him being part of the VRS satellite senior racing team, is going to be actually P2, but we still have about 2 cars on track. Hugo Olsen is one of them, your teammate, Powerslide, and then Severi Seppa is the second driver on track that is still trying to lower their times. And I think more than probably any other track in this season, getting a perfect qualifying lap, I think it is the most challenging thing you can do here at Road America, especially with the new checkpoint they have, because there have been some changes they've done here in Road America that kind of brings out that challenge.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a track that most of the drivers enjoy driving here. However, it's not easy, to nail down a perfect lap, especially in qualifying session, and with the new tire model, which is kind of different situations in some specific parts of the track. So you must combine that aggressivity, but at the same time, prevent losing time and to be starting up front.
Yeah, and with that, qualifying is over, so we're going to go into our grid here in the Road America track at Wisconsin. So we got Phillip Kraus in P1 with Syandra rounding out the first row in this Road America track. Connor Harrington for this P2. P3 with Riley Thompson P4. Adam Crane and Adam Blocker duels rounds out the Adam row in the third row. Brian Carey, Hugo Olsen P7 and P8. Andrew Wood and Alex Van der Sand round out the top 10 in the row 5. Then we go to Isaac Morris and Maxwell Brown in P11, P12. And okay, this is interesting for me because I got apparently wrong, but here we go nevertheless. So the Vaughn and Rashad Craig are P12. Then we go to the next round out of the grid is Will Zweller and Severi Seppa P13 and P14. Andres Ike is P15 with Vil Deval in P16. P17 is Rashad Craig and David Rodriguez in P18 and P17. Jacob Oster, Alex Rassi, Antonio Alvarez, and Ailton Andrade are going to round out the 22 cars in this grid. It's going to be the full run here in Road America instead of the short run. There's the option, but iRacing decides to go instead for the long run. And I'm looking over here, Wilson. There is some really interesting strategies being called on the grid because I'm looking, the majority of the guys are going with the red bands. The only driver on the black brands will be Vilda Vollen. She's actually using the black brands. And we were talking about this prior to the start of the broadcast. I don't think there will be a major gain on the black brands. And we've seen last season the red band brands being the better tire throughout the races here we've been doing in the iRacing IndyCar Open Series. But do you think in a track like this, the black brand might actually be used in this race?
I think it probably what Vilda is thinking is because starting from back of the field, we'll try to save as much fuel as possible, and I don't know, maybe do 15 or 16 laps with the black tire because the tire fall off from the red tire is huge, like 2 seconds. But at the end of the run and at the end of your stint, the black tires somehow can compensate that. So if Vilda can try to make that strategy work, maybe that can be worth to gain a few spots in the final stint, like full sanding on those red tires. But yeah, I think for the majority of drivers, especially those drivers starting up front, it will be pretty much one-stop strategy and both stints on red tires because it's pretty much the way to go.
It's pretty much the way to go, and I think one of the also key aspects of this race will be the front left tires, which I've been seeing Brandon train as I got some of his notes, is the tire that actually gets killed the most because it is the tire that gets most stress in this track. And how can you conserve tires, especially I don't know if fuel is going to be something that we can be talking about in this race, but how do you conserve tires like this in a track that kind of, it's not the most abrasive track, but it is the track that, with the long radius of turns, can consume most of the tires.
Yeah, I think it's especially saving the front tires will be the key here, Lorenzo, because if you have too much of tire lock in the front, you get too much understeer later on the run. That will pretty much compromise your third and fourth sectors, because it will be quite hard to carry out speed and to be competitive, especially in the middle sector. So yeah, I think it's a mix of prevent overdriving, try to do the corners as clean as you can and not overdrive, all those stuff that we already always know, but it's not sometimes, especially in the such challenging conditions that the track's quite hot today, so it will not be easy for those drivers to keep up pushing hard all the stint long.
Yeah, talking about a hot track today is basically 48 degrees Celsius, right about, I think, 110 Fahrenheit on the track. That is the weather. But ambient is about 26, so it is not the warmest track out there. Relative winds are 16 kilometers to the southeast, so it might affect a little bit coming to the carousel. And relative humidity is about 48% and slightly rising on the Wisconsin virtual track. Now the drivers are running out on Canada corner. They're about 2-3 turns away for the start of the first round of the IndyCar open season. I can't wait to commentate on this, because I've been very hyped. I wanted to be on the road, but being on the broadcast, which is just as good as anything else. In the meanwhile, Phillip Kraus and Syandra just getting ready to go anytime soon. Pace car is right about the last corner, and we're going to have green flag at the Road America circuit. Pace cars in anytime soon. The Porsche will clear off. Phillip Kraus to lead us off, and there we go. Phillip Kraus leading us off. Green flag. We are for 23 laps on the Road America circuit, and apparently Syandra not getting the best of entries, because Corin Harrington is on the inside of the VRS satellite driver, just making the clean move, but apparently no major drama on the back of the field. Just one driver, I think that is Alex van der Sande on the background, that actually got involved in losing a few spots. I think he lost about 5 spots all the way back, but in the front, basically, Phil Kraus actually opened up about 0.8 of a second on Corin Harrington, and that's the thing you really want to have right about on lap 1. Do not leave an inch whatsoever for the cars to go up. A few drivers already using the push to pass, so the whole majority of them actually using the push to pass, and Adam Blocker now locking up really hard on turn number 5, and Lau losing right about 1 spot to Hugo Olsen. Nearly lost to Brian Carey, had to defend on the outside, but managed to defend nevertheless. Getting a little bit dicey, as you can see Brian getting shoved up by Riley Thompson on the exit out of 7, and then going into turn number 8 as they go into the carousel. Drivers still trying to locate themselves here in the grid, but so far so clean over here, Wilson. And now the thing you have to do is just find yourself on the track and mark your own pace.
Yeah, that's right, Lorenzo. I think they had a good start. We were able to see Blocker having a good aggression on the start, trying to get a few spots, but he just had a huge lockup on his tire and lost, I think, the 1 or 2 spots because he was fighting with Syandra. Yeah, but in general, now everybody needs to settle down and to find their pace, and it will be a long race with many strategies playing the game. So yeah, good to see a good start and everybody putting up the show so far.
Yeah, first lap completed, and Phillip Kraus leads off this grid. What about 0.8 of a second on Corin Harrington, and Adam Crane is P3 right about Syandra. His teammate on VRS Satellite is P number 4. Hugo Olsen got 3 spots up, benefited by the Adam Blocker's issues on turn number 5, and Adam Blocker back to P6. Riley Thompson is P7. Brian Carey P8. Isaac Moore is P9, and Maxwell Brown rounds out your top 10. But here we go. There's also a battle for P number 2, actually, because Connor Harrington is getting lots of pressure from Adam Crane. Moves down on the inside of turn number 5, and easy come, easy go for Adam Crane. 1 spot up. And now the key for Adam over here, it has to go on the full attack on Phillip Kraus. The thing is, he's already used 2 push-to-passes here. Wilson, how critical are the push-to-passes in this race? Do you waste that early, or do you rather save all the way to the end?
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, Lorenzo, because actually there's no right answer for that question. Because according to your track position, it may be worth to save those push to passes, so you can spam those push to passes like after you exit your first stop, then you can get a huge undercut. So, which we know that on red tires the undercut is huge, so you can gain a lot of time on that. So it will all depends on your strategy in the race and also your track position. So I think we might have there's a huge chance to see these guys doing different strategies in terms of push to passes, and we'll probably see that's pretty much related to their track position and how comfortable they are feeling, with the balance of the car in that moment of the stint and the race. So yeah, it will be pretty interesting to see that.
Yeah, talking about push to passes, the majority of the drivers in the back, all the way to P8, are using the push to pass to try to get closer or go for those moves. But no major fights whatsoever. The only one is actually Adam Blocker and Hugo Olsen. Now, Hugo initially making a huge mistake on turn number 1. And that leads Adam Blocker to make the move on the inside of turn number 3. And now Adam Blocker up to P5. And now you can see Riley Thompson now far behind, still trying to push the pass to use. Phillip Kraus uses his first one to try to clear himself. He knew Adam Crane used his first one because Adam was coming in really quickly on the lead of the Team Talent driver. But so far, pretty much clean race, and we're going to start to be seeing those tires drop off right about on lap 8 or 9 or something like that, right, Wilson?
Yeah, you start feeling a little bit of drop off from lap 4 on. Like 5 or 6, you start trying to try different approach, especially in braking, and according to those drivers who use the trail braking techniques. Yeah, but after like 7 or 8 laps, the drop off is even bigger, and so you really must be careful, especially in those sectors, especially in carousel. If you get too much understeer, there's a huge chance to go out of the track. So yeah, especially if you have the dirty area ahead of you. So that's why most of the people love so much this track. It's quite challenging, and you have to keep focused all the time, because if you clip the grass and you lose control of the car, you probably hit the wall and will be at the end of the race. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's also a track that takes no prisoners whatsoever, especially in the carousel where the aero draft, the aero wash actually can be highly effective for the guy in front. Now you can see Andrew Wood on the hunt of Maxwell Brown, not using the push to pass here on the start-finish line straight, headed into turn number 1. Just staying right behind, tucked in behind Maxwell Brown, trying to save a little bit of fuel. The fuel is not an issue over here because it's 23 laps. If this was the IndyCar, the IIS, which is about 23 laps longer, and actually it's not 23, it's about 20 laps longer, then we can actually be talking about something different. Now you can see the cockpit of Andrew Wood hunting down Maxwell Brown. He covers the inside of Wood on the outside. He just needs to watch out that checkpoint, but puts the car on the outside, side by side, a little bit of a lock up to Wood. Has tucked back, and nice defense from ground, not allowing the number 15 driver to come through.
Yeah, and we can expect some more action on that corner, especially Lorenzo, because there's a huge straight, and also after that the Corvette corners, you can see sometimes you see a lot of side-by-side action over there into the braking on the corner 8. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see those guys trying to build their way up on the grid right now early in the race. So it's a proof that we cannot sometimes it's not worth to wait too much in the race. So if you get behind, then maybe later to catch up the guys ahead of you. So yeah, pretty interesting to see those kind of moves early in the race.
Yeah, and you can see Hugo Olsen having a little bit of a look on his back wing, and you can see right there just looming, creeping every time a little bit closer is Riley Thompson, and the TDR, the total downforce driver, is actually hunting down the Open Wheels 500 winner, the 2020 Open Wheels 500 winner of Hugo Olsen. And you can see he's actually making the work, not using one push to pass just yet. And I think that's been the trend of this race. Not many drivers use the push to pass aggressively like you used to see in the few seasons ago. Basically everybody, the only driver with the last number is actually Adam Crane, Maxwell Brown, and also I can see J. Oster with only 7 push to pass to go.
Yeah, that's right, Lorenzo. And it's good to see like guys like Riley and Hugo trying to keep up and not lose the draft for guys ahead of them, because we know that there's a lot of talented guys in the front of the grid.
Here. Yeah, sorry, just that got a little bit dicey because every Sappler managed to get the move right far behind Will Zoller, managed to get the move on Alex Van der Sand and managed to defend a little bit because Alex, one of those guys, the last position, and the tight defense from Andrew made Alan Maxwell Braun to go way too deep into the kind of Corvette corners, brought everybody all together, and Savory Sappa just had to tuck back the car a little bit, really checked up the guys right behind them, and made a little bit of a cluster. Now, Van der Sand on the inside account of the corner. There it goes, the number 20 car. Easy come, easy go. And now the former P10 in this race, now one spot up in a recovery race.
Yeah, it's getting spicier, spicy. Yep, we have Riley Thompson out of the track.
Oh, that's Riley. Let's take a look on the replay. What happened to Riley here? And that wing is broken. I don't know if the suspension is broken out of that car, but that car looks in a world of pain right now. We're still seeing Adam Blocker still trying to chase. And now let's go on the replay. Take a look what happened to the Tyler downforce driver. Looked like, oh, the rear stepped back way too aggressively. I know we don't have weight jackers like we used to on the few other oval races here at Wilson. But do you think Wing could have played its part over here, or is it more like arrow wash than anything else?
Yeah, to be honest, there's a really nasty bump on that corner, so sometimes you have to lose your steering wheel, otherwise you can get the snapper steer. But sometimes you also can play with the front bar, you know, to stiffen or to lose the car a little bit. So probably Riley was betrayed by his tire wear, and from the moment he tried to find traction, he was not able to keep the control of his car. The car was quite upset, and then he ended up spinning. Yeah, unfortunately for Riley, because I was just talking about him and how good was the battle between him and Hugo, trying to keep on the draft of those guys ahead.
Can we say it was a commentator's curse then? Your first commentator curse to RaceSpot this season?
Yeah, probably it's my first one. Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we got debuts for everything. Debut for a commentator and debuts for a commentator's curse for the new commentator. Right, we're pretty much set for this season. All right on. As we're still looking at Adam Crane. Adam actually got a really good lap last lap, 0.2 of a second quicker than Phillip Kraus. And even though he's not working to push the pass here, Wilson, he's getting some actually real good times. But now Kraus managed to bite back a little bit, but only stiffened the gap to about a one-tenth of a loss on Crane. But Crane looking really good with that mid stint setup. Barely, his car is much better than Team Talent's driver.
Yeah, and it's very important here for Crane to keep on Phillip Kraus' draft, you know, so he can try to manage to save a bit of fuel and maybe try an undercut, maybe pitting 1 or 2 laps earlier and have that fuel advantage of the fresh tires. But yeah, we will see. It's definitely, there's nothing, everything in the table right now, so. But it's good to see those guys.
Step on the move, late braking for Savory. Just missed the braking way too much. That allows Alex Van der Sand to come in on the inside. Now the number 20 gets one more spot up. That's what happens when you get a little bit aggressive, and the push the passes also makes a little bit of an effect because you can lose the time over here real quick. And now Andrew Wood actually lost a little bit of a traction on the exit of the Corvette corner, just went way too deep into the braking, got on the grass, and that allows every time to check up, and that brings also Will Ziller. So that back of the pack is actually where we're seeing the most action here on the track, Wilson. And I gotta say, I'm kind of enjoying this action, even though the drivers are making mistakes. For us commentators, this is what we want. We want to see some action.
Yeah, it's been really good to see. Really good to see here from us, you know, here in the booth. If you were on the track, we will probably be struggling as well with the same guys, the same ways the guys in the track are suffering and struggling. But yeah, I think that pretty much related to that front tires, Lorenzo, as I told you earlier. If you have some kind of tire locking, then you will get overheat, and sometimes you just get pushed and lose your apex, and that's pretty much it.
And you can see Zappa now having to defend from Will Zoller, and you can look at the driver from New Jersey, the number 10 car in this grid. trying to hunt down. No uses to push the passes. The only drivers using are Rashad Craig, David Rodriguez, and Ailton Andrade for trying to make any moves. And then we want up in the front. We have to take a look at it in a little bit because Adam Crane once again with a battle lap 0.3 of a second quicker the Team Talent driver. So we can actually see a battle for the lead here brewing, Wilson. And with that, I think Connor Harrington might be seeing a little bit of a saving grade because if they battle way too much, this is the track that if you try to overdrive the car, you pretty much said that a little bit earlier, it can bite you in the rear very quickly and it can bring some other guys to the party. And the one thing you really don't want is other guys to that party.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. They must be very smart at this point in the race, so try to prevent losing as much time as they can, because otherwise the guys feel like Adam Blocker or Syandra a little bit behind them will be able to catch up, and then things will be harder for them.
Yeah, talking about Adam, he actually made the move right after turn number 5, because Syandra actually made a little bit of a mistake, made a little bit of a fumble on the Corvette corner. And that allowed Adam Blocker to go on the inside. And now the Power Slide driver, the current iRacing Open Series champion, to go up and try to build up a little bit of a lead, but still far behind the Connor Harrington, because he is right about 2.5 of a second. The private label team hype driver is far back, but I think Adam Blocker, we know him, and we've been seeing from few seasons, and his driving style, he's conserving those push the passes to the very end of the race. Yeah,
I think his strategy will be try to spam as much as push to pass he can in the lap before he pits, so and probably in the lap after. So usually those kind of laps are where Adam used to gain speed and to try those huge undercuts. But it will be also interesting to see right now. Like he has clean air, what kind of pace he can put on the table, and then see if he can catch up with Connor Harrington.
Yeah, and now we're seeing Valen actually making the move on down. I think that is Jacob Boss. Nah, that is not Jacob Boss. That is Andreas Ike. So a little bit of a Scandinavian battle here on track, and Vilda got the upper hand of the first part of the track, and now Andreas tried to go for the outside move, didn't have any runoff whatsoever. Allows Vilda Valen to actually re-engage the position, and I started to see the trend here that those Blackburns are starting a little bit stronger towards the latter portion. We are on lap 9, and we were talking the lap fall, like tire drop-off fallout is actually quite big on this track, more than any other tracks. And those Blackburns can become a little bit of a threat, maybe in the next lap or two.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the Vilda what kind of pace Vilda can be able to hold by the end of the stint. And so we can have a better idea in terms of tire drop-off. Of course, in terms of strategy, there's not much we can see, but it will be interesting to see how many positions it will be worth using those black tires.
Yeah, the last lap for Vilda, just taking a look over here, was a 1:46.6 for the driver on the number 11. And meanwhile, up in the front, Phillip Kraus managed to gain a marginal advantage on Adam Crane managed to get a marginal advantage on Phillip Kraus. But the one other driver who should be looking is Connor Harrington. He was not about a 1.5 seconds behind Adam Crane. Last lap was a flying lap for Connor, 1:45.8. So we can actually see a 3-way battle over here on the lead while we're still trying to actually see what's happening to Phil, because he's struggling quite a lot on this latter portion of the stint.
Yeah, from the last lap, it seems that Adam Blocker was the fastest driver between those guys in the front. So he was 3/10 faster than Connor, 0.5 faster than Kraus and Crane. So maybe Adam can be another player to be fighting for this win in the end of the race.
As they go through carousel gap that has about 0.6 of a second between the Team Talent and the VRS satellite driver. We know Adam Crane is the current iRacing IndyCar series, which is basically the mimics the real life calendar. The tracks are actually, the laps are actually longer for the road, are 50%. I think ovals is right about full length. He is the current champion of the series, so he knows what he's doing on these tracks, and he's coming to quit. That setup is looking really good again, once again, on the latter portion of the stint. corner gaps to Adam Crane increased to right about 1.3 tenths of a second. The Iowa Wash just maybe playing its effect towards the latter portion of the sim as we open up lap 11.
Talking about IIS, Lorenzo, Hugo Olson is also the runner-up of that championship. Had a good battle with Adam Crane. So good to see everybody coming to join the season in the Open Series as well. And have those guys on the track is always a pleasure to see them racing.
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of these guys racing as well. A lot of these drivers also on the ISO WC that we just lost. We just saw a few, like last week, we actually had the last round at Sebring brought to you by us over here at RaceSpotTV. As now we're looking, I think that is Sayandra having to defend on the outside, on the inside for Hugo. Hugo got a little bit aggressive on the entry of turn number 5. Has to check up a little bit on the corners, and the driver from the VRS satellite managed to get away with that position, Hugo, but still looking on the hunt because the problem is if he actually goes for that move and overdrives it, Adam Blocker can't manage to open up a gap with it.
Yeah, that's possible because I was actually trying to. I was hoping that Hugo could do the Corvette corner side by side because it's so much fun when they do that. But Hugo was playing on the safe side, who didn't try to full send right now. So yeah, but at least he's trying to push hard. Seems that Sai is struggling a little bit with his tires at this moment of the stint. So it's pretty interesting to see what Hugo can offer in this fight and to try to get the position.
Talking about also pit stops real quick, we also had our first pit stop in just Ike and JP Coster, were the first guys coming into the pit lane. And in the front, now we're seeing Adam Blocker coming into the pit lane. A few other drivers might be coming into the pit lane as well. I see Adam Crane, Adam Blocker, now the guys up in the front top 5 now doing their pit stops. I'm really interested to see how their strategy will be. Maybe the full stint and some tires that will be basically the brand going for this race. Isaac Moore is now coming into the pit lane as well. And ISOWC next round is this weekend as well, as we go into Auto Club Speedway into Fontana, California for our first oval event of the championship. Can't wait to see what those drivers will do in the California track.
Yeah, you're right, Lorenzo. And the pit window has just opened, and I'm pretty sure that Kraus will pit in this lap or the next one because he started spamming those push to passes to get a good entry lap. So it will be interesting to see how the pit stop strategy will work for those guys right now.
Yeah, you can see now the number 20 having a little bit of a lockup. That is Alex van der Sand, probably having an issue, but I don't. And just getting out of turn number 5 over here, the driver from the number 20 just having a little bit of an issue. I think he lost one spot to Phillip Kraus and back now into this battle. That is Sayandra, I think, having to fare off Adam. Sorry, that is Adam Crane. I'm still getting a little bit confused, but they need to distinguish themselves. Adam, please do something about those liveries so it can distinguish themselves between each driver, please. But it had to defend from Alex Rassi, but the fact that he has better rubber is just easy work for Adam Crane. Already opened up again, 1.5 seconds. Meanwhile, Phillip Kraus comes into the pit lane. I think Connor Harrington follows suit, and a little bit of aggressive entry for Connor Harrington. Managed to close down the gap about 0.3 of a second on Phillip Kraus. Hugo Olson staying on track. Sayandra is in. So I can see some other guys up in the front part of the field coming in for their pit lanes.
And that pit entry is quite tricky, Lorenzo, because you cannot see pretty much nothing until you get to the top of the steep. So yeah, that's pretty much something that the drivers must practice very well, because otherwise you just leave plenty of time on the table when you do your pit entry.
And looking at Adam Crane, maybe actually going to get to jump on everybody on this pit. Yeah, he will do it. So Adam Crane now is provisional leader of this race. Phillip Kraus will be in second, Connor Harrington third. Adam Blocker now is in fourth because Sayandra just couldn't get the best run out of the pit lane. 40 seconds for the VIS satellite driver. He tucks back and now is in P5 from now, P6 right behind Adam Blocker. Adam actually really good stint so far. Not far behind that Connor Harrington.
Yeah, and that was a huge undercut, right, Lorenzo? That's what I was talking about earlier. It's a huge difference because on fresh tires and when you're in old tires. But yeah, Kraus will have plenty of time to get back and to catch up. And in Adam Crane, I'm pretty sure that we there's a huge chance to see a battle for the race lead in a couple laps, maybe 3 or 5 laps, something like that.
Gaps right fluctuating between 6 and 5/7 of a second between the private label and the Pars Live Motorsports driver, as we're still seeing Adam Blocker still having to hunt down at the carousel. Not the easiest place for you to hunt down a driver that is ahead of it because of the arrow wash. Now into the king, coming up into kind of the corner. Connor running wide and still far behind Adam Blocker.
And Connor has a good car in top speed, in terms of top speed, because I was early in a practice session, was just chasing him, and yeah, his car has a huge top speed as well. So
yeah.
I guarantee that will not be easy for Blocker to get this best.
Get close, yeah. As now Hugo Olsen, Brian Carey, Vilda Vollen, Will Zoller, and obviously Alex Vandersand coming into the pit lane. So that means Anna Crane will be the provisional leader of this race, and we're gonna chauffeur ourselves back into our pit strategies, and I'll bring you guys up on the top 10 once everything is done. But Phillip Kraus still 2 seconds behind the VRS satellite driver. Kraus now using his push to pass, trying to do his best efforts to get close to Adam Crane, the Canadian, and he still has a lot of time. Still has about 10 laps left in this race for him to get into the spot. Connor Harrington actually doing a really good job of keeping Phillip Kraus a little bit honest, 1.2 seconds behind. And then Adam Blocker still on that chase. And then we have Cyan. And I think Cyan is going to be in a world of pain because not far behind, there's Hugo Olsen.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see that, Lorenzo, the fight for the lead. I'm pretty sure that Kraus will be able to get there, and in the other track position as well, and especially to see what the Vilda will be able to do right now with those fresh rubber on red tires, having all those 3 cars ahead. So yeah, quite interesting moment of the race right now.
Yeah, talking about Vilda, she's actually in this four-car train that is led by Maxwell Brown. He has to fend off Andreas I here on the carousel. Not far behind is Severi Sappa. I was going to say Jacob Osser, but Vilda is right over there, right behind Severi Sappa, just marking the Finn driver and see what the drivers will have in store as they open up the lap. And the driver with the best tire over here has to be Vilda and Will, because they're just on their out lap. And to build up the heat on this track, on a track like this that is still hot and is getting even hotter, Wilson can be a little bit of a favorite, but also can bite you in the rear again if you drive that car way too aggressively. And now we're going to be seeing some movements over here on the straight.
Yeah, that's right, Lorenzo. And yeah, the worst tires on this string is Andreas Eek. He has already 3 laps, while Vilda is on her out lap. Severi Seppa was on his first lap as well, and it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, Seppa has covered the outside of Vilda. Vilda getting aggressive on turn number 1, and she actually pulls the move on Severi Seppa, now moving into P12. The number 11 driver, and now she's on the hunt again of Andreas Ike. She has 7 push to passes to go, and wherever the guys up in front, they're in a little bit of a trouble. 4 pushes to pass left for Andreas Ike, and Maxwell Braun has still 5 left. The only driver who still has less than that is Andrew Wood. He has about 3 left, and David Rodriguez as well, far in the back of the field, has about 3 left to go.
Yeah, it's not the easiest task for Vilda right now to try some move, especially in this part of the track. But hopefully in the back straight we'll have plenty of space to try and move over Andreas, and especially make those fresh rubbers work. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, and also we have issues with David Rodriguez. He's out of this race. Apparently having some issues on turn number 5, it looks like. The number 16 car, as we're still seeing this battle in P number 10. And Andreas has to cover the inside for Maxwell Brown. Vilda tried to go for the outside, just couldn't cut it. And it's getting a little bit dicey here as they come to the final corner. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these drivers actually hit up the push to pass, and I'm not surprised at all. Andreas Ike with the push to pass, Vilda with the push to pass, and I can't believe Maxwell Brown already has to cover the middle. just going to cover the inside, but Andreas just has way too much speed. Coming to turn number 1. This could get a little bit tricky for Maxwell to defend. Nearly wheel-to-wheel contact, nearly side-pod contact. Ike still has the advantage, a little bit of an overlap on turn number 3. Still has the outside, who has going to have the better run. Still side-by-side, both drivers. Toda is now the driver giving chase every step and not far behind, but Maxwell already covering the inside, trying to block off a little bit of Andreas Ike. Ike goes to the outside. Vilda try to follow suit. Nobody's going to overbreak the other guy into turn number 5, but Ike having a little bit of an issue on turn number 5. It allows Vilda to come through. 77 comes through as well. Alex Van Der Sande is a little bit behind that. He's not going to have the move to actually do it.
Yeah, Lorenzo, for a moment I thought we were going to see a 3 wide in turn 1. So, fortunately that didn't happen, but yeah, it's quite interesting.
It got a little bit interesting. I thought they were actually going to go bonkers and go 3 wide, but then again, they had the checkpoint at turn number 5. If you ride way too much that curve to the outside, you can actually get a slowdown. I don't know how much of a big a slowdown it is, though.
Yeah, you can afford to use a little bit of the curve in turn 5 in the outside, but yeah, it's quite tricky because it's pretty much bumpy as well, so it depends on how stiff your suspension can upset the car a little bit.
Yeah. Now, this is the battle that matters because Phillip Kraus worked his way up to catch up Adam Crane. Battle for the lead is on right now. 0.2 of a second separates the Team Talent driver with the VRS satellite driver up in the lead. Here we go, Phillip Kraus trying to go for the aim. Both drivers use the push to pass, but Phillip has the draft range now side by side. Kraus on the outside, nearly touching wheels. Adam Crane doing his best to block off any actions from the Team Talent driver. Nearly braking at the same time, a little bit of a late braking for Adam Crane. Kraus on the outside, a little bit of a runoff, and Phillip Kraus now back into the lead.
Yeah, nice move by Kraus going on the outside. Yeah, definitely top-notch racing we're seeing here, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I was promised from the guys in Discord that would actually give us a good race. I'm not disappointed at all with this. I am actually pretty much satisfied with what they're giving up on the track. And look no further because Connor Harrington actually under a second on Adam Crane, and he has more push the passes to use than Phillip Kraus and Adam Crane. So Connor Harrington in this late portion of the race, the private label Team Hype, this can become a little bit of a factor in this race here, Wilson, because not only has a run, we've seen Connor be very, very sneaky on some of these road races.
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's a huge chance still for Connor to make his way up and fight for the win. We've seen the difference between one lap tire, how huge was the difference between Kraus and Crane. So Connor will also had that advantage ahead of Crane. So yeah, there's plenty of chance for him to make his way up and fight for the win with Kraus. Let's see.
Yeah, well, let's see what's going to happen. We still have a few more battles up in this race. Brian Carey tried to follow suit on Andrew Wood. Those guys were actually trying to distance themselves from 70 Seppa and Villavalle. Something might have happened to actually Villavalle to lose a bit of a track on those guys, though, because now Brian Carey tried to follow the driver of the number 15. Now use the push to pass, though, but Phillip Kraus up in the lead. He's using his push to pass to try to clear himself away from Adam Crane, but just cannot do it. In the meanwhile, here, Brian Carey tried to go for the move. No room whatsoever to go for an outside real big lunge. That would have been the biggest lunge in the history of IndyCar open here on iRacing. But Brian Carey just using his brake for now, just having to work that car properly. Now back into Connor Harrington, now chasing Adam Crane. And I was talking about this, Wilson. I think Adam Crane might have overdriven this car a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, probably, because in the first stint we saw him doing a very conservative run, trying to maybe, I don't know, feel safe and just keep up with Kraus. But yeah, despite the huge undercut he was able to do, he will struggle a little bit more later in the run with that extra lap, and here comes Connor.
Yeah, push the pass for Connor. You can see it right on the middle of his dash. Outside, nearly blocked off by Adam. Adam on the late braking. Inside the count of the corner, he managed to shove off Connor Harrington all the way to the outside, and Adam Crane manages to live for another day, but is not out of the woods yet. Hussein, thank you very much. Phillip Kraus opened up over a second gap on both drivers. This is the thing that Phillip Kraus really wants, as Adam Crane won the push to pass to defend off Connor Harrington in turn number 1.
Yeah, that's right. The longer their battle, the better for Kraus. So Kraus is pretty much just checking up his mirror view, so he can be pretty happy with the building, the gap that he's building But yeah, hopefully they don't crash each other, so we can still see this fight till the end of the race.
A little bit behind, by the way. Brian Carey actually made the move on Andrew Wood, and Andrew is also trying to give chase. But this is what the thing we want. We want to see this battle for the podium because Connor is on the chase. He's giving the best effort he can get, just using draft for Adam Crane. Adam Crane managed to block out the mood, and Phillip Kraus had a little bit of an issue on turn number 5. Brings Adam Crane into the fray once again, overbroke himself. The Team Talent driver, and now the VRS satellite driver might have a chance over here. Work the draft, save a little bit of fuel, and then who knows? He still has about 2 push the passes to go with about, we're going to say 5 laps to go in this race, or 4.5, whatever you prefer.
And it's very interesting to see, you know, Lorenzo, because sometimes you can do pretty much a good race, and sometimes you just can have a small mistake, you know, corner overdrive it, and then you can just lose a couple of spots and ruin everything. So it's pretty important to notice how these guys are able to keep pushing hard and keep they're pretty much in the same gap and working hard to the end of the race.
Yeah. By the way, I've been dying to ask because I've barely done any laps in this track. I was wanted to do some practice, but I was doing like plebeian laps, 146, 145 with this weather like this. But I was just testing out the setup, the season 4 2020 setup. Which corner is the most difficult to drive? We're seeing Adam Blocker using his Ford push to pass with 3 left now in this race. Which is the trickiest to break? Turn 1, turn 5, or Canada corner?
Yeah, I think turn 5 is pretty much tricky because there's a huge change of imbalance of the car throughout the fuel run. Pretty well, turn 1 I think is pretty straightforward. You don't brake that hard, but you brake it very, very hard for turn 5, and but not mention braking, but you know, as I mentioned earlier, from turns like 5 into the carousel, it's pretty tricky to don't lose much of a time when you were in old tires. So the cars get under a lot of understeer. So the key is trying to compensate that we using like changing your brake bias and stuff.
Right, fair point. And meanwhile, Phillip Kraus opening up a 0.5 of a second over Adam Crane. The gap between Adam and Connor is about 0.3 of a second. We have 4 laps to go here on Road America. Reminding ISLWC comes back for round number 3 at Auto Club Auto Speedway, and also we have the 6 Hours of Glen, the iRacing 6 Hours of Glen, the next endurance event on the special events calendar. Also this weekend, the coverage done by also RaceSpotTV. And now Connor Harrington. Let's talk about Connor looking for the inside with the push to pass, blocked off by Adam Crane, but he overdrives way too much on Canada corner. Adam Crane is off the track. Adam Blocker is now P3. What a disaster for the VRS satellite driver.
Yeah, I think for a moment he thought he was going to get bumped from Connor and had to lift the brake a little bit. That's why Crane just went wide. But yeah, fortunately for him, and it was a good fight.
Yeah, good fight nevertheless, but I think he got I can agree 100%. I think he got a little bit spooked on the braking zone because it was just right on the braking zone, and Adam just had to do one thing, overdrive the car into the sand and lose 1 spot. That's the thing. You really want to be on the final last of this race with 3 to go. Now we're back with Severy Sabat locking up the brakes. That is Vilda Vollen not far behind. Sorry, that is Alex Venderson not far behind, just on the chase of Severy Sabat making the move on the inside of turn number 1. And now Alex on the push to pass. He's not going to have enough room. Alex with the push to pass. My mistake. I'm sorry, because Severy has only 1 push to pass to go. And we probably know where that push to pass will go on which lap.
And that's a very good battle. And then we can see Lorenzo ahead of them. There's Vilda with a good gap already. So yeah, I think pretty much for her that strategy on the black tires worked pretty well because she was able to get 6th position so far.
Yeah, the strategy for Vilda has been excellent as well. Also considering a little bit of field that's worked up amazing for her. And remembering, if you qualify with once you qualify with the black brand, you cannot change tires from the qualifying to the race session. You race with the brand that you choose. So that's why Vilda ran pretty much with the black compound instead of the red compound. As we're right about to get 2 laps to go in a little bit, as Phillip Kraus is just heading into the start-finish line, as we're still seeing this battle between Andrew Wood and Brian Carey. This is the closest battle, the second closest battle, because the closest is actually Jacob Austria and Will Zoller in P14. But Brian Carey giving a good run on the number 15 car so far. Gap between Connor Harrington, also Adam Blocker, is just about 1 second. All the drivers themselves, no major battles whatsoever, but they still have two passes each. In the meanwhile, this battle, Andrew has two push the passes to use. Brian has three push the passes to use, so we know he's going to get a little bit more aggressive on this lap. I don't believe they will be conservative after turn number 3, heading into now inside. Clean slate for both drivers, and now Brian on the push to pass, and Andrew a little bit conservative. Okay, I like that. I can fully dig it that he's saving for the final laps, for the final runs into turn number 5 and maybe kind of the corner. But Brian with a really good run, but it has to go for a lunge, but it doesn't do the lunge whatsoever here. Wilson, what is the trickiest corner? Of course, you can use the push to pass and for the straight overtakes, but if you have to make a corner overtake, which one is the trickiest? Would it be the carousel or a Corvette corner?
I think definitely carousel, because you can sometimes afford to, to try to get in the outside and to have the right hander in the next corner. But it's quite tricky to carry the amount of speed necessary to do a side-by-side, but at the same time to prevent spinning the car. So, yeah, if you're thinking to try to move in let's say an unusual corner, it would probably be the Corvette corner for sure.
Fair point. As we're still seeing Brian on the Hun, actually got close to the wing of Andrew Wood as Phillip Kraus opens up the final lap of this race. Gap is right about 0.8 of a second separating the Team Talent driver. But look at the run that Brian Carey got on the inside of the second to last corner. Nearly touching wings, nearly touched wing of the last corner. And now Brian and Andrew using to push the pass. Brian on the last one. Andrew still has one left, so he's going to have to rely on draft. Here we go, Brian on the inside, trying to follow the zigzagging from Andrew Wood. Andrew covering the inside as both drivers coming to turn number 1. Who's going to have the advantage over here, nearly breaking it at the same time. Now Brian going over and under, not having any room whatsoever. Andrew covering the inside into number 3. And apparently this will be decided on the run to turn number 4 and 5. Now Andrew on the usage of the push to pass, they're going to be coming in side by side into the race. And this is pretty much exciting. Can't wait to see who's going to overbreak himself into turn number 5. Let's see Brian with the late braking. Doesn't look like he actually lost the brakes. There's a little bit of a lockup for Andrew. Nearly touching the wheels on the inside of turn number 5. Now Brian with a little bit of a good run on turn number 6 into the Corvette corner. And Brian moves up into one spot.
Yeah, nice move by Brian. He did exactly what I was talking about, trying to brake late, not spin the car, and sustain the outside line.
Yeah, nice car control from Brian, but this is what the one thing we really want to see. Phillip Kraus, Canada corner, basically led most of the laps of this race, only for Adam Crane leading the other chunk of the laps. Heading to the final corner, the Team Talent driver pretty much showing his case of talent in the first win of the season. Will go to Team Talent driver. The winner of this race is Phillip Kraus. Connor Harrington is P2. Adam Blocker rounds out the podium. Meanwhile, we can see Brian Carey actually managing to run away with the P8 against Andrew Wood. Adam Crane will finish P4. Hugo Olsen with a really good, strong run on the second half of the stint, rounding off the top 5 of this race. Sion John will be 6th. Isaac Moore 7th. Brian Carey, like I mentioned, 8th place. Andrew Wood 9th. And rounding out top 10 will be Vilda Vollen, that managed to hold Alex Venderson nearly at the line. Wilson, what a race.
Yeah, that was a first-class race for sure. A lot of battles in the different parts of the track, from the front win for the podium, like between P5. Nice move from Brian the last lap against Andrew Wood. Not to mention the strategy playing very well for Vilda to get few spots in the race. And yeah, pretty fun race, and that's what we expect from a season opener. What is a good race, and everybody trying to show their best.
Everybody's showing their best abilities as we're seeing Barney, the wave flagman, just waving the checkered flag. There's still a few cars up in this field, still having to do their final laps. The only one is Antonio Alvarez, but here is the race result. Phillip Kraus has finished in the lead of this race with Connor Harrington P2. Rounding out the podium is Adam Blocker from the Powerless Live Motorsports. Adam Crane P4, Hugo Olsen P5, P6 is Cy Andra. P7 is Isaac Morris, Brian Carey P8, Andrew Wood 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Vilde Valle. 11th is Alexander Van der Sand, 70 Seppa is 12, Maxwell Brown P13, Will Zeller is P14, Jacob Oster from Total Downforce Racing, he is P15, Andreas Ike is P16 after some issues, unfortunate for the number 4 driver. Number 17 in this grid is Antonio Alvarez, Alex Rassi, Rashad Craig, and David Rodriguez rounds out the top 20 of this field. And the final 2 drivers that try to take the laps in this race but couldn't complete it are Hilton Andrade and Riley Thompson. Fastest lap completed by Phillip Kraus, the 1:43.536, done on lap 14 for the Team Talent driver. And pretty much a very strong first race in the season, pretty much setting up the tone. Wow, I think could be the closest competition we might have in the IndyCar Open season in the past few seasons, Wilson.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, especially because the teams are able to get more usage to the car and to the different settings, you know, and the tire strategy. Because again, as I told you earlier, a couple builds ago, the car, and especially in such hot conditions, the car felt quite tricky, like after 6 or 7 laps. And but that's completely different now. The car is a bliss to drive, but you can't overdrive it. You must keep doing some clean laps, and otherwise you burn your tires and compromise your long run.
Yeah, it's a very tricky car, but I think I've been saying this for quite a while now. It's probably the best car in the service. It's the car I've been enjoying the most to drive. Again, I wanted to drive this on the grid, and but nevertheless, being in the broadcast booth has been a blast. We're still waiting for a few drivers to come up, and for now, I think we're gonna get Connor Harrington to give us his input. He's the number 44 Team Talent driver, private label Team Hype driver. Let's push him up and let's have a talk with Connor. Connor, welcome to the broadcast booth, and pretty much a very, very clean race and some opportunistic move here and there, but I think you're pretty much satisfied with P2.
Yeah, definitely. A really good run for our private label Team Hype Ethical Closing Machine. Always nice to get get off on the right foot on a new season. Car drove really good tonight. Not able to get Phil there at the end. A P3 is something that we're really proud of.
Yeah, because I was really interested. I want to talk about that move you try to do on Adam. That was a late block by Adam, but how close do you think it was to come into a crash? Because you went for the move, and that was really nearly at the braking zone. But how the car felt in a hot track like this, because it only got hotter, and managing these tires, especially the left front, can be a little bit tricky. How do you balance the car to try to avoid that?
Yeah, the move on Adam, it looked like he had gone for the undercut, so he was going to be 1 lap behind us on tire and tire performance. So, he was just going to be that little bit slower in the second phase of the race. As far as the move, I tried around the outside, and that didn't look too appealing to try to get around him. And so he went for the inside move, and he covered it off. And I backed out, but I think he was at such a weird angle for the corner on the dirty side of the racetrack. I just think he just locked a brake or caught a brake, and he ended up going a little bit deep, and we were able to continue on. And that was really important because we wanted to really make sure to stay ahead of Adam. I think we still had a better car than them tonight, but it's tough. This track actually eats rear tires more than anything else. It's really tough to keep those rears from overheating. So to manage it on a really hot track surface and get a podium out of it is great.
All right, I was actually joking with you on this corner. You're talking about the rear tires, and I was like, how about no? I wanted to see you suffer, but nevertheless, that was a really great race. And what about the schedule of the season? It's more of a. Do you think it is way trickier than season 2, or you think it fits more natural to you on this new schedule we're having?
Yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting schedule. It'll be a really interesting and competitive championship as always. A lot of guys are really focusing on the IndyCar now with the ISOWC, which is a great series. And this is great. It's great practice for the road courses for Lionheart. Helps keep me sharp. Always improving, always trying to get better. So I'm excited for this season. I think it'll be really interesting.
Right on. And everybody, is there anybody you want to give out any shout outs, whether it's family or anybody inside the private label team, hype team that you probably want to give any commendations for?
Especially our technical alliance with Team Talent has been really great. We've done some great work together. We had a very good showing at the 500. Just everybody over at Private Label and Ethica, I really appreciate it, all the support, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Right on. Connor, thank you so much for coming into the broadcast booth. Can't wait to see what you do in Lionheart. I forgot there is Michigan and also Indy GP this week. And good luck on the next few races, man.
Yep. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
All right, right on. And Wilson, I'll let you pick. All right, since you're doing debut, I'll let you pick the next guy we're going to interview. Which one do you want?
Yeah, let's talk with Adam Blocker.
All right, let's push up Adam Blocker over here into the broadcast booth. So go ahead, Wilson.
Hey, Adam. Good to see you here, mate. And was pretty sure it was a pretty intense race starting P6, but you did a good race. Just share with us how the race worked for you, and especially after the pit stop and trying to undercut and those late moves late on the race.
Yeah, it definitely feels like one I could have won. We didn't really get a chance to work on qualifying more than like 15 or 20 minutes, so it wasn't really a surprise to qualify poorly. But yeah, ultimately that cost me, I think. That and then making a mistake on lap 1 that let Hugo by and kept me behind Cy. Basically, like me getting held up behind Cy in the first stint really cost me, I think. Because I think I had the pace for those guys. I saw at the end, I was on a lap older tires and I caught them. So, yeah, that's basically what I thought. But it was a fun race, had to make a few passes. So.
Yeah, another question real quick. I just shared with the guys in the broadcast that 2 builds ago when the new tire model came out, if I'm not wrong, the season opener was here at Road America as well. And after 6 or 7 laps, we really must look after the tires, otherwise the rear tires especially was going to have a higher tire temperatures. And in your opinion, did you feel the car is more enjoyable to drive right now? How did you think that the tire and especially the feeling of the car went throughout the race and the entire stint?
It's definitely more enjoyable than it was then, because back then we were just losing it on the entry, for example, turn 5 without really any warning. And now, yes, you still have to manage the rear tires, but it's a lot more predictable. You're sort of gradually sliding throughout the whole corner. Like, particularly for me, it was turn 6, just like holding basically a drift through there. The only thing I think that really can be improved is trying to bring both compounds into play, because right now it seems like even hot track temp at a track that really doesn't treat the tires very well, we're pretty much running reds everywhere. So I think if I wanted iRacing to do anything, I would want them to probably hurt the reds, make them fall off more, or bring the blacks into play with a little bit better pace or something, just to make it a little more interesting in terms of compounds. But yeah, I think the car drives really fun right now. So.
All right. Thanks very much, Adam. Nice comeback, and congrats for your podium.
Yep, thanks.
All right, that's Adam Blocker, the P3 in this race, driver for Powers Live Motorsports. And let's bring the winner of this race, Phillip Kraus, the Team Talent driver. Phillip, first and foremost, I need to get this out of the way. Is it purple or not?
Sorry, is my button working?
All right, it's working now.
Okay, cool. It's kind of purple, but I think it's got more pink on it than purple.
All right, fair point. We can get this out of the way. The listening on the radio, that was a really funny one. I had to ask this. But talk about this race, because you led pretty much most of the race until the undercut from Adam Crane. How much comfortable were you with the car? Because the car was really good up to the point where I think you overshot turn number 5, and that's where things got a little bit tricky.
Oh yeah, it was really fun to drive the car this race. There were that turn 5 incident. I broke a little bit too hard and ended up dragging the right front the tiniest bit. And I tried to like get off the brake a bit to stop dragging it. Then I dragged the left front, and then I just went wide. But other than that, it was a really fun race. The car was on rails the whole time, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun battle with Crane as well into turn 5.
Yeah, right on. And I really wanted to talk about your schedule, because you have a pretty much of a good schedule to talk about. If I recall correctly, you have Lionheart, and then you have the ISOWC, try to qualify for the ISOWC at the Auto Club. How do you manage to keep up with a very bunched up calendar like some of the drivers like Adam Blocker and some others?
It's not Lionheart. It's Indy Elite, but same thing basically.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, I usually don't run open, to be honest, but I'm hoping to run the full season this time because I have a bit more time available in my weeks, and it's always really fun racing with these guys. So I hope I can do it more often, but we'll have to see what happens. But yeah.
Right on. And Phillip, what do you think? You said you pretty much don't drive the road courses, but if you want to talk about the schedule, how do you think about the schedule so far? Do you think it is better than season 2, or it doesn't fit your style for the season 3? What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't say it particularly fits or doesn't fit my style, but it'll definitely be interesting. There's a few new tracks in the calendar. I know there's the Hockenheim Ring, that new track, and I believe Phillip Island's on there as well. They should both be really fun races. I'm really looking forward to Hockenheim because I haven't gotten to drive an open wheeler on iRacing at like a proper F1 circuit, and I know this isn't an F1 car, but it's basically an F2 car, and I think that'll be really fun and really enjoyable.
Hey, at least there is no major tire drop-off like the F1s, right?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say that. There's a fair bit of tire drop-off here. I think we were running like 1.6 seconds slower than we were at the start of the run at the end there. But, I mean, we were on reds and the track was cooking, so that's to be expected.
I mean, at least they don't blow up.
Oh, yeah. I love tires that don't blow up in the middle of a straight for no reason. Definitely.
Fair point, Phillip. Anybody in the Team Talent that you probably want to give any shout-outs that are probably watching?
Just Team Talent as a whole. They always make quick cars, and it's always fun to race with them.
Fair point. And again, Phillip, thanks for coming into the broadcast booth and what you see what do in the Elite Series. And then maybe, who knows, try to qualify and see you in the ISOWC this weekend.
Yep, thank you. Hoping to qualify in for sure.
Right on. And again, thank you for coming, Phillip. And now we can go back, Wilson, to wrap up this broadcast. We still have about 11 rounds to go if you want to go over the schedule once again so you guys can see where we'll go up next. Michigan is the next round. Is a round that can be really tricky for the cars because of the air adjustments you might have to do, especially on the weight jackers. It's not the easiest launch you can get as well. But what portion of this schedule do you think you get the hype at the most, where you can see, getting the favorite out of the most? I really want to drive this.
Yeah, I think I agree with Kraus. It will be pretty interesting to see how the Sky will drive in Hockenheim Ring, proper F1 track. So I think it will be pretty much fun. And I mean, the track itself will be, I think, will look like pretty much like Barber or something. Those tracks with high downforce, but it will be quite new to everyone. So yeah, Hockenheim definitely will be a good one to see.
Right on. And like I said on the beginning of the broadcast, I can't wait to see what Phillip Island will get, because it's a track that I love the most and is a really good track to IndyCar whatsoever. But this is it for now, and we're going to be back next week with round 2 into Michigan. In behalf of RaceSpotTV, I'm Lorenzo Bonder. I've been with Wilson Nato on the commentator booth, and production was done by Tyler Maxson. Tyler cameras were done by Isvan Ballo of Track Cams 22, and also additional cameras done by Tyler Maxson himself. We'll be seeing you next week at the Michigan International Speedway. In the meanwhile, we say farewell and so long.
side by side.
There's contact between the two of them, parked off the road. Adam Crane trying to look to the inside of the Yas Heat driver.
Now, oh, big snap of oversteer.